Okay guys, so this page is going, in this video is going to be on solving quadratics. So remember there are 3 ways to solve. That was on the front page. That is your calculator, quadratic formula, and factoring. Okay, so I'm going to show you quadratic formula and factoring just so you can get practice with those algebraically. And then you can always use your calculator to check those out. All right. So when I'm solving this first one, or when I'm solving any quadratics, I'm looking for the roots or the zeros. Remember, it means the same thing. Okay. And in order to do that, I need to get this equal to 0 by using my inverse operations. So that's going to look like this once I'm done with doing that. Okay, and since I'm going to show you the quadratic formula, I know it's the quadratic formula because if I look at my answer choices, all my answer choices have square roots in them. And if I'm factoring, I'm not going to have a square root, so I know I have to use my quadratic formula. So my A value is going to be 1, my B value is going to be 6, and my C is going to be positive 2. And remember, I get that from the numbers here. So let's plug into the formula. X equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac. I'm kind of going to run out of space, so I'm going to make this line to show my work over there. Okay, so instead of the b, I'm going to replace that with the number for b. In this case, our number for b is 6. Instead of a, I'm going to replace that with my number for a, which in this case is 1. And instead of c, I'm going to put the number 2. So we're going to think of this as 3 parts. This is going to be part 1. And I'm going to do that in the calculator and get my answer here. So negative times 6, that gets me negative 6. Now my second part is going to come from what's underneath the square root. So when I do that in my calculator, I'm going to get, let me do it on the side quick, 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 2. And you should be doing that in your calculator. That gets me this number, which is going to be 28. And then our last part is going to be what's underneath, and that's going to give me 2. So there's 3 parts when we're simplifying. Part 1, part 2, part 3. And remember, this breaks into 2 different answers. One's going to be our positive answer, so negative 6 plus square root 28 divided by 2. And the other one's going to be our minus side, so negative 6 minus square root 28 divided by 2. So in order to see which one it matches, okay, I'm going to convert these using my calculator. Let me do that on this screen here. So negative 6 plus square root 28 divided by 2. And negative 6 minus square root 28 divided by 2. Okay, so I get negative 0.35 and negative 5.64. So now I want to see which one it's going to match. Okay, so if I look at my choices, I can kind of do a process of elimination here. If I divide -6 by 2, am I going to get a +3, a +7, a -3, or a -7? And I know I'm going to get a -3, so I'm going to check only that answer to see if that gives me the same thing. And when I do, I'm going to see that x equals -0.35 and x equals 5.64. So let's just double check that. -3 plus, oh. Good, that one works, and -3 minus √7. And that one works. So I can see that my answer choice is going to be choice number 3 because it gives me the same exact answers that I got when I did my quadratic formula. Okay? Okay, so now we're going to do problem number 2. All right, and problem number 2, we are going to solve by factoring. So the reason I'm going to do it by factoring is if you want to reassess factoring point 2, you should solve this using factoring. So here's our equation. Okay, in order to factor it, it's already set equal to 0. We are going to multiply our first term by our last term. Remember, we're creating our factor sum table. So the factor is -84 x squared, and our sum is going to be 5x. So two factors that work for that are +12x and -7x. When I add those two together, I will get 5x, so that's going to work. Okay, so let's expand this. This is going to be 12x and -7x. I'm going to bring down my 2x squared and my -42. I'm going to do reverse box method, but if you don't like reverse box method, feel free to do the other way. Okay, so if I check these two, my GCF is going to be 2x, which means this one would have to be 1x, because 1x times 2x gets me 2x squared. Okay, this one is 1x, which means I need a -7 here in order to get -7x. And 2x times 6 is going to get me 12x. We set those in parentheses equal to 0. And I'm going to solve, so I'm going to get inverse operations, -6, x equals -6. This side, +7, sorry I'm running out of room. We get 2x equals 7, divide by 2. And we get x equals 3.5, or I can leave it as 7/2. Now we have to make sure we're answering the question. Okay, so all we have to do is finish answering the question, because even though we have the answers, that's not what the question said. The question said, do you agree with Amy's solution? Explain why or why not. So, yes, I agree with Amy's solution because ... Why do you agree with Amy's solution? Okay? And that's it for solving.